The story begins with a quiet truth that could have rewritten headlines years earlier, but instead unfolded in the most unexpected and heartbreaking way. Imagine working in someone's home for over a decade, polishing their silverware, folding their laundry, serving meals with a polite smile, yet carrying a secret so heavy it could have fractured an entire family if revealed at the wrong time. That was Clara's life. To the outside world, she was just a maid in Denzel Washington's household. To those who knew her more closely, she was reliable, kind, and humble. But behind closed doors, she was raising a boy whose bloodline tied directly into one of Hollywood's most respected families. A boy she called her son, though she had no obligation to him by birth. This wasn't a story of scandal in the conventional sense. It was a story of sacrifice, silence, and love that didn't seek recognition. And when the truth finally came out, it shook everyone to their core, especially Denzel himself. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. Clara's journey with this child, Elijah, began in tragedy. Years earlier, during a turbulent period in Denzel's son's life, a relationship bloomed between him and a young woman from a troubled background. The romance was short-lived, the kind of youthful fling that burns bright and ends abruptly, leaving both parties changed but disconnected. The young woman, only 19, became pregnant. She didn't tell the Washington family. Perhaps she was too proud, perhaps too scared, or maybe she simply didn't know how to reach into a world that felt far removed from her own. Life, however, wasn't kind to her. Struggling with addiction and battling circumstances that few at that age could withstand, she died tragically just months after giving birth. The baby she left behind had no family willing to claim him. He was on the brink of becoming another number in the foster care system, another child swallowed by bureaucracy. That's when Clara, who had been working as a caretaker for the young woman in her final days, made the decision that would define her legacy. She took him in. She didn't hesitate. She didn't wait for applause or approval. She just did it quietly, legally, and secretly, not as a maid, not as a relative, but as a savior. What makes this story astonishing isn't just the choice Clara made, but the way she carried it. Most people in her position would have used the truth as leverage. A maid holding the secret of a Hollywood icon's grandchild could have made headlines, money, or even demands. But Clara wasn't most people. Instead, she deliberately sought out employment in the Washington estate, requesting the maid position not out of financial desperation but with an unspoken mission, to remain close to the boy's rightful family. To her, raising Elijah wasn't just about providing food or shelter. It was about giving him values, teaching him dignity, and keeping him rooted in love until the day the truth could safely be revealed. She raised him in a modest apartment just 20 minutes away from the Washington mansion. It was nothing glamorous, nothing luxurious. A small place with second-hand furniture and peeling paint, but it was filled with warmth. Every morning, Clara made sure Elijah went to school with a packed lunch. Every evening, she helped with homework. Birthdays were celebrated with homemade cakes, candles bought from the dollar store, and hand-me-down toys that Clara managed to make feel brand new. And through it all, she never once asked Denzel or his son for money. She worked her hours, sometimes leaving early or arriving late, always making excuses about errands or church responsibilities. The Washingtons, none the wiser, accepted her explanations. They never imagined the real reason. It wasn't until Clara's sudden death from a stroke that the secret unraveled. Life has a cruel way of exposing truths at the most unexpected times. Among her belongings, carefully preserved in a sealed envelope marked, "To the Washingtons. When the time is right," Denzel's daughter found the revelation that would change everything. Inside were photos. Elijah as a baby swaddled in a blanket, Elijah's first birthday with frosting smeared across his cheeks, school reports with gold stars and teacher comments about his kindness. And then, tucked inside, a full DNA test confirming what Clara had always known but never said out loud. Elijah was Denzel's grandson. Alongside these documents was Clara's handwritten letter. The words were simple, elegant, and devastatingly moving. "I did not tell you because I feared judgment. But more than that, I feared what the world would do to a boy born in silence and thrust into a spotlight. I raised him with love, preparing him for the day you would know him. I hope you will love him as I did, not for what he is to you, but for who he is." When the Washingtons read the letter, grief washed over them in waves. Denzel, the man known for his unshakable composure on screen, reportedly broke down. His son, who had no idea the woman he once loved had passed away, nor that he had fathered a child, collapsed into tears. And the family, as stunned as they were, also felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. Clara hadn't just hidden a secret. She had carried the weight of someone else's legacy and nurtured it with honor. She had given a child not only a life but a chance at belonging. At Clara's memorial service, the truth came full circle. For the first time, Elijah was introduced to the Washington family. He was 12 years old by then, old enough to feel the magnitude of the moment but still young enough to see it all with innocence. Cameras caught Denzel holding Elijah's hand, not on a red carpet, not in some orchestrated press statement, but in the quiet dignity of a memorial hall. It was a moment that transcended Hollywood, a moment of raw humanity. A father and a grandfather reclaiming not just blood but love and legacy. Of course, once the story reached the media, reactions were divided. Some called it scandalous, an embarrassment for a family that had long been a symbol of grace and integrity. Others hailed Clara as a hero, a woman whose selflessness protected a boy from becoming another tragic headline. But the Washingtons themselves refused to feed into the scandal narrative. Denzel released a statement, not flashy, not defensive, but deeply human. "Clara didn't just clean our home. She cleaned our conscience. She loved in silence, protected in secret, and gave us back a part of our family we never even knew we lost." That single line captured the essence of Clara's role. She wasn't just a maid. She was the glue that unknowingly stitched a family back together. After Elijah was welcomed into the family, the Washingtons chose to honor Clara in ways that reflected her humility and strength. They kept her small apartment intact, transforming it into a space of remembrance, a kind of personal museum filled with her belongings, her photographs, and the countless little artifacts of the life she lived. More than that, Denzel launched the Clara Grace Foundation, a scholarship fund dedicated to women who raise children not born to them but born through love. It wasn't just about honoring Clara. It was about recognizing the thousands of women like her who quietly hold families together, who step in where society falls short, and who often do it without recognition or applause. The story of Clara and Elijah is one of those rare narratives that challenges us to rethink what family truly means. Is it biology? Is it blood? Or is it the daily acts of love that shape a child into who they become? Clara's choice to raise Elijah without expectation of acknowledgement speaks volumes about the kind of love that transforms lives. And in the end, when the truth surfaced, it didn't shatter the Washingtons. Instead, it made them whole. Elijah now lives with the family, surrounded not just by fame and wealth, but by the love that Clara had always hoped he would one day receive. Her legacy lives on, not just in the foundation but in the boy himself, whose life became the ultimate testimony to the quiet power of love and sacrifice. Stories like this remind us that the most extraordinary heroes often wear the most ordinary uniforms. Clara wasn't draped in Hollywood gowns or paraded on red carpets. She wore an apron, carried a cleaning rag, and walked into a mansion each day with the weight of a secret no one suspected. Yet her legacy outshines many, forces us to ask, how many Claras exist in the world today, quietly doing the impossible, raising children, holding families together, and never expecting the world to notice? How many lives are shaped by people who, like Clara, choose love over recognition? And so, as this story closes, it leaves us with a challenge. What does it mean to be family? What does it mean to protect, to nurture, to love in silence? Clara's story isn't just Denzel Washington's family drama. It's a universal reminder that sometimes the greatest acts of love are the ones hidden in plain sight, waiting to be discovered when the time is right. Perhaps we all know a Clara in our own lives, someone whose sacrifices went unnoticed but whose impact runs deep. And maybe the question for us is, will we honor them while they're here, or wait until it's too late.